Alright, so a few things that you want to keep in mind when you are working with grout. Number one, definitely don't put it down your sink because it is concrete at the end of the day, and if you do put it down your sink, you're going to have a plumbing issue. So we don't want that. So don't put it down your sink. Make sure that you have a water bucket available or somewhere where you can dispose this grout at the end. Just throw it away so you make sure that it's safe and not down your drain. Hey guys, Miss Alicia here with the Art Garage. Today I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks on how to grout a mosaic. Alright guys, so in front of you you'll see this heart mirror that I am going to grout today. I have some white grout, some water, I have got this little popsicle stick and a wet rag. When you're grouting, it is definitely going to get messy, so what you want to do is make sure that you're using materials that you don't care much about. For example, this little bowl is going to hold grout. Grout is pretty much like concrete. So this is just like a Tupperware bowl that I've gotten from some sort of food supply that I've had before. So this is just going to go in the recycling bin anyways. So I don't care much about this. So that is why I'm using that bowl. Right here is a mirror. So this is a mirror. So you want to make sure that before you get started and before you get grouting that you take all of the mirrors or frames or glass stuff that you don't want the grout to get on. Get it out of the way, take it out. Yeah, so what I like to do is mix grout with water until it's about a toothpaste consistency. I kind of just guesstimate for the most part. I add little by little. So what you want to do is make sure that you start with the grout first and then add the water after. Just like cereal, you don't want to start with water and then add grout. It'll just get a little bit messy. So here you see I have my popsicle stick. It looks pretty good, but I want to get all of those lumps out. Alright, so that looks about perfect to me. That looks like toothpaste. I don't know what kind of toothpaste you guys use, but that looks like the toothpaste I use. So I'm going to set my water aside. I don't need it right now. And you can use gloves or you can, do whatever. I like to just use my bare hands. Also, before you get ready, like I said, grout is messy, so you're going to want to pull your hair back like I had in the beginning of the video. And I'm also wearing an apron. You don't need to wear an apron, but if you have just a shirt that you don't care much about, you can use that as well. So I like to just get right in there and go ahead and fill in all of those pieces. Just lay it right on top. So I'm using white grout, as you can see, and I decided that I wanted to paint my edges to match. You can use the grout and grout the sides if you like, but I think that gets a little bit messy myself, so I just like to paint them. But if the grout does get on the sides and you paint your sides, you can barely tell, and I just use regular old acrylic paint for that. So as you're doing this, you want to make sure that the grout is hugging your tiles. You want to get in all of those creases, just like that. Alright, so now that most of my holes and creases and things seem to be covered up, let's see, one more check around, looks good. Now what I want to do is go ahead and start to just rub the grout off just a little bit, just on the very surface, so that your tiles don't get lost in the cement. So you just want to rub it like that. You can even use your popsicle stick to kind of just scrape it off. Whatever works best for you. I just like to use my hands. So what I'm going to do now is let this sit for a few minutes, about 30 minutes, let it dry just so that all of the thicker parts of grout are going to be solid. And then in about a half hour, I'm going to take my wet rag, I'm going to wash it off and polish out some of these tiles. Okay guys, welcome back. So I have left my mosaic to dry for about 30-45 minutes. As you can see, it's still a little bit wet, it's a little bit tacky, but right over here is a lot thinner. So what I'm going to do is grab a wet rag, and I'm simply just going to polish off my tiles like this. I like to roll it up actually, just a little bit easier. Alright, so now that I've got all of my tiles polished out, I'm gonna let it sit for just a little bit longer. I don't know if you guys can kind of tell. So all of the tiles are pretty much polished out totally, but there's just still a little bit of a film, just a little bit, and that's just because the grout in all of the crevices is still a little bit tacky, just a little bit wet. So I'm gonna let the rest of that water dry out, let that grout dry out, and let it sit and wipe it down one more time. Alright guys, thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope that whatever you make turns out beautiful and awesome. Create and be happy.